Hello, gents. Today I want to talk about the loss of one of Major League Baseball's greatest stars in my eyes, and that is Bill Buckner. I was really sad to learn that he had passed away. I had the privilege and the honor of meeting him and spending time with him when I was a teenager, and I'll tell you about that in just a moment. I would really like to make an argument right now. I'm not going to, but I'd like to make the argument that Bill Buckner should be in the Hall of Fame. And I'd like to talk about how just all of his accomplishments, everything he did. I'd like to talk about how the fact that the Red Sox lost Game 6 of the '86 World Series, they never would have got to that World Series without him. And the fact that they were even tied in the 10th inning when that error occurred was due to a series of crazy pitching errors that led up to that. But I won't get into that. You can look up that if you don't know about it. You can research it and form your own opinions. I have my own opinion. What I do want to talk about, though, is Bill Buckner, the man. So when I was 14 years old, back in 1994, I worked on a farm in a small town in Idaho. And Bill Buckner owned a lot of the land that we farmed. He had a house. His house was right next to the dairy that I worked at, and then all the fields around there. I worked at the dairy, and I also worked the fields. We irrigated those fields all summer. And I'd see him driving along up and down his driveway sometimes, and he'd wave at us, me and my brother. And so my boss, the farmer I worked for, he told me, that's a Major League Baseball player that lives there. And when I asked him who, and he said Bill Buckner, I was like, the Bill Buckner? Really? There? I was so excited. I went home. I gathered up some Bill Buckner baseball cards, and being the bold 14-year-old that I was with no scruples, I just went right up to his house and I knocked on his door because I wanted to get his autograph. So I brought these cards, and when I knocked on the door, his daughter answered, actually, and I was super nervous and shy, and she was really cute, and I'm stammering there on the porch. I'm like, is Bill Buckner home? And she said, no, he's not home. And I said, I brought these cards that I wanted him to sign. Can I leave them here and come back and get them later? And she said, okay. And she took the cards and I left. I went back a few days later, knocked on the door again. This time, Bill Buckner answered the door. He was home. His family was home. And I said, hey, I dropped off these baseball cards a few days ago because I wanted to get your autograph. And he said, oh, yeah, I saw them on the counter. I didn't know where they came from. Come on in. So I went in, and he picked these cards up off the counter, and he signed each of them for me. So here they are now, autographed. And then he grabbed this little portrait, and he signed this for me. It says, to Joe, best wishes, Bill Buckner, because I went by Joe back then. And he was such a cool guy. He was so kind and nice to me. He talked to me about baseball. I never brought up the incident, but he asked me who my favorite players were. And we had like a real conversation, and it was so valuable to me as an awkward teenager to be able to have like a baseball conversation with this baseball legend who I looked up to so much. And it really spoke to me a lot about his character. 10 years later, after that, 2004, I was deployed with my platoon in the Army. And me and another guy, we talked a lot about Bill Buckner. Me and a few guys, actually. But we came up with this idea that it'd be fun to start this Bill Buckner fan club. So I made this Forgive Bill Buckner shirt that you see right here. And I thought it was going to be funny. We were going to start this whole movement about forgiving him. Turns out our movement was wildly successful because in only 2 or 3 months after this, the Red Sox won the World Series and everybody finally forgave Bill Buckner. And perhaps you've seen the events and things they had to tribute him after that. But I just wanted to say that while today, when I heard the sad news, everybody was talking about how he handled this with so much poise and grace and everything else. All of that is true. And on top of that, he was a genuine nice man. He was a good man. In a world where a lot of sports heroes are not good men just because they're good at sports, he was a person who excelled at sports, but also excelled at being a good man. So thanks for taking the time to watch my little tribute to Bill Buckner. I will see you soon, gents.